are going to discuss about how to write a good scientific research paper. So we will discuss about the general guidelines that we have to follow while writing a good research paper. So key topics will be elements of publishing, what is structured abstract, article submission, publisher peer review process, author and reader priorities, hands-on activities. How to publish or perish? Publishing is the chief currency in this universe, the main source of validation of one's research, and often the key indicator of academic success is the publication of a research paper. Promotion in tenure committee value peer-reviewed publications above all. What is regrettably even above clinical performance or community service. So if you are able to get your research paper published, then you will get API increase, academic performance indicator will improve, and you will get proper job opportunities also, you will get research project also, you will get award of degree of PhD and others benefit is associated with research publication. So task of writing a research paper is very daunting, and we have to have a dedicated session for writing research paper. Evaluating groundbreaking research, unless the paper is correctly written, no publisher will like to get your research paper published. At best, publication will be delayed and multiple reviewers will comment, many recommend comment how you have to edit and improve your research paper before it can be published. And at worst, it will never get published in good reputable SCI journals Q1 or Q2. So the goal is to provide an overview of how to write a well-structured research paper so that you can get your research paper published on time. So research life cycle. First you have to search and discover, then develop your idea, then you have to design your study, acquire materials, collect data, store data, analyze the data, integrate findings, write the report or research paper, and then get the research paper published. So this is the basic cycle of the research writing, from writing to publication. So key element of publishing is ethical issue, style and language, structure of the paper, component of the paper, article submission or journal selection, and publisher process of peer reviewed. So ethical issues will be like disclosure of the conflict of interest. While submitting your paper, you have to declare your conflict of interest. If more than one author is associated, then write the credit, who has contributed which part of the research paper and who has contributed for editing or writing of the concept or analyzing of the data. Acknowledge the funding sources. If you have received any funding for the research, particular research work, then you have to acknowledge the funding source. Image manipulation and fabrication of data is highly prohibited, and don't do this. Online submission is very important. You have to learn how to submit in different research journals, and you have to use different data sets, video and other content. For health sciences, registering clinical trials to the central registry of your national authority is very important. Institutional review board approval is must for any clinical trial related research publication. So you can also refer to the best practices guideline in publishing ethics published by John Wiley and Sons for more detail. Style and language. Refer to the journal's author guide for note on styles. Like see the publishing skills, web bibliography, and every journal has their customized special styling and language. So you have to refer to your particular journal. Some authors write their paper with a scientific journal in mind. Others write the paper and then adapt it to fit the style of the journal they subsequently choose. So the objective is to report your findings and conclusions in a clearly and concisely as possible, so that journals can accept your paper for publication. Most of the journals accept papers between 3000 to 6000 word limit. So try to stick to that and try to follow the structured pattern of writing a research paper, proper title, good abstract, keywords, introduction, findings and discussion, conclusions, and a comprehensive list of references that you have used in your research paper. So complex language not needed and poorly manuscript needed are often rejected. If English is not your first language, find a native English speaker or a better editor so that he can review your content and language of the paper before it can be submitted. So you can seek help of some person who is well and good in research writing or research editing. Regardless of the primary language, find a colleague or editor to review the content and language of the paper before submitting it to any journal. Recommendations for the conduct, reporting, editing, and publication of scholarly work in medical journals is a very good research article where you can read more about this. The structure of the paper is very important. Scientific writing follow a rigid structure and a format developed over hundreds of years. So a paper can be read at several levels. Some people will just refer to the title, others may read only the title and abstract, others will read the paper for a deeper understanding. So the paper rejections takes place at multiple levels. If your article title is not matching with the scope of the journal, then it might be rejected straight away. If the reviewer, second level is reviewer find that your abstract and title is not conforming to the scope of the journal, then it can be rejected. And if these two steps are passed only, then it will go to next level of the reviewer who will review your article in detail and then he will suggest some comments. This format is also used by most of the journals and you have to conform to them. In most of the workshop and conference publication also such type of process is adopted. So the National Library of Medicine structured abstract is like you have to write brief abstract. It should not be more than 200 words. Try to limit between 100 to 200 word limit and try to mention the crux of your research journal so that reviewers can have a good snapshot of your research work. So the basic component of the paper is title. So you have to clearly describe your content and it should not be more than 15 words. Author name, always write the author name in the priority given by those first authors should be those who has contributed much in the research writing, second author and third author. Don't write more than 3 to 4 authors in a research paper. Ensure recognition for the writers who have contributed in the research writing. Abstract. Describe what was done in your research paper, what is the crux or the key finding of your research paper, not more than 200 words. It should be optimally 150 word keyword. Some journals require index word or keywords so that you have to write the keywords, write at least 4 to 5 keywords related to your research journal, research title, which should match your content. Introduction section, this explains the problem, what problem you have identified and how you have tried to resolve through your research work, what method or tools you have used and how data were collected, how it was analyzed, and how sometimes result and discussion sections are clubbed together in some journals. If you have used extensive research method, then you can discuss results in separate headings and discussion in separate heading. But most of the review journals you can discuss results and discussion in one single heading. Then you have to write conclusion and then you have to write acknowledgement. Ensure that those who helped in the research are recognized. References: ensure previously published work is recognized in all the sources that you have used in your journal. Research writing has to be acknowledged or properly referenced. So the order of authors: only include those who have made an intellectual contribution to the research, or those who will publicly defend the data and conclusions and who have approved the final version. Order of the name of the authors can vary from discipline to discipline. In some fields, the corresponding author's name appears first, and then second author, and then third author. So title: describe the paper title clearly and precisely with the keyword. Is the advertisement of the article. So this is how you can advertise or market your research journal to the reviewers and editors who will accept your article. So do not use abbreviations and jargons that make no sense in title. Search engine indexing database depends on the accuracy of the title, since they use the keywords to identify relevant articles and search through their database. So your title should be unique and it should be representative of what has been done in your research paper. Abstract: briefly summarize approximately 150 words the problem, methods, results, and the conclusions so that the reader can decide whether or not to read the whole article. Together, the title and the abstract should stand on their own. Most authors write the abstract last so that it accurately reflects the content of the paper. Use keywords that will attract the readers, and it should be representative of the content of the article, not use irrelevant keywords. Introduction: clearly state the problem being investigated, background that explains the problem, reasons for the conducting of the research, summarize relevant research to provide context, try to justify how your work is different from the already published works, identify the question you are answering, explain what other findings if others are talking about, so try to correlate with other works. Briefly describe the experiment, hypothesis, research questions, general experimental design and methods in your introduction section. So methods provide the readers enough details so that they can understand and if possible they can replicate your research in their field. So your methods should be extensive. Explain how you studied the problem, identify the procedure you followed, and order this chronological order if possible. Explain new methodology in detail. Otherwise, name and methods and cite the previously published work who has used these methods or provided this method. Include the frequency of the observations, what type of data were recorded, and other details. Be precise in describing measurements. Include errors of the measurement, research design limits, central tendency, and other errors in the data results. Objectively represent your findings and explain what was found. So what your new results are contributing to the body of the scientific knowledge, acknowledging other research work of the similar field, cite their findings and give proper logical sequence based on the tables and figure presented in the findings to answer the question or hypothesis, and also justify how your research work is related to other researchers and how it is enhancing the existing body of the knowledge. Figure should have a brief description, elegant, providing the readers sufficient information to know how the data were produced. Discussion and conclusion. Sometimes discussion is separate and sometimes discussion conclusion comes together. So describe what your results mean in the context of what was already known about the subject by quoting different authors, expert authors in your field. Indicate how the result relate to the expectations and to the literature previously cited or the research work done by different scholars around the world. Explain how the research has moved the body of scientific knowledge forward, how you are contributing to enhance the knowledge base. Do not extend your conclusions beyond what is directly supported by your results. Avoid undue speculations. Outline the next step for the further study so that you can give a way forward for other researchers or some research gaps so that other researcher can work further on the related topic. References. Whenever you draw upon previously published work of others, you must acknowledge the source. Give proper citation, both inline citation as well as reference, bibliographic reference. Any information not from your experiment and not common knowledge should be recognized by citation. How references are presented varies considerably, refers to the note for authors of the specific journals because there are different type of referencing styles. Most of the journals follow APS 7 style, some of the journals follow Chicago style, some of the journals follow Vancouver style. So you have to refer to the notes for the authors or information for author section of the journal so that you can understand what type of reference the journal is asking for. Avoid listing related references that were not important to the study. So only list references which you have used or referred in your research journal. So there are different referencing style like I had already taught. So Harvard referencing style. Use the author's name and date of the publication in the body of the text, and the bibliography is given alphabetically by author, like last name is written Adams, comma, first name in short form, and then in bracket year of the publication, then the title of the article. If subtitle is given, then subtitle of the article, then the journal title, then you have to mention the volume and issue number, and then page number. If there is book, then you have to write last name first, then comma, first name in abbreviation, in bracket year of publication, book title, then publisher name, then publisher address. And if you are writing about journals which has more authors, then you can write the last name, comma, first name in short form, then title of the journal article, then journal title, then volume issue number, then page number. In Vancouver referencing style, use a number series to indicate references. Bibliographic list these numerical orders they appear in the text, like 1, 2, 3, 4 will be written, and the referencing style is more or less similar. Last name, comma, first name in abbreviation, in bracket year of publication, title, article title, then journal title, then volume and issue number, then page number. Referencing management software, you can use Mendeley, Zotero, EndNote, which are very good for providing you a different type of referencing format. If you need different format for different journals, then automatically this software can generate such type of referencing style automatically for you. Article submission. Select your journal carefully. Read the aims and scope of the several journals, who read them, and what has been published. Think about your target audience and the level of your work. Do not have a realistic chance of being accepted. Follow the guidelines in the note of the authors, information to authors. Include everything that they ask. It makes the editor's job easier and the chances of getting your article accepted more. Articles should not be submitted to more than one journal at a time. First, you have to submit one article and then wait for their decision before you moving to the other journal. Broad or generalistic versus specialist scope. There are many broad journals which consider a broad range of topic or threshold and may recommend a transfer to a more suitable subject-specific journal. Some specialist journals they consider a narrow range of topics and thresholds, and rejection in pre-review or out of scope is done and may recommend transfer to other journal, specific journals, or to a broader scope journal. So you have to see whether the journal which you are targeting is a broad scope journal or a specialized journal. Open access versus subscription. Open access is provide instant open access after publication, and subscription based access is provided to those institutions access those who have got the subscription of the journal. Similar quality and standards, peer review editors, editorial board, indexing, permanent electronic access, distribution is different. For open access, no subscription barrier, universal access, and openly licensed to allow reuse, authors pay publication fee. For commercial publication, subscription fee is paid. Publisher on the license agreement, authors do not pay publication fee. So indirectly, the subscription based journals are also paid in nature because they get paid by the institution for subscriptions. So we can say that no journals is fully free or free because in some way they charge in the name of open access or in the name of subscription they charge publication fee. Online submission. Many publishers now offer a completely electronic mode of submission. Article is submitted online and all the review process is done online and authors are intimated at every stage of the review process. This speeds up the editorial process and it is invaluable for authors in low income countries where they had to first send manuscript through post and then wait for months for getting update about the decision of the editorial board. After submission, most journal editors will make an initial decision on the paper and they will say that the paper is under review or the paper is rejected. Most editor appoint two referees. Referees speed varies tremendously between journals. Some journals can refer to reviewers within few weeks and some journals can refer to reviewers within 2-3 months. Authors should receive a decision of acceptance or accept with revision, minor or major, or rejected. If a paper is rejected, most editor will write to you explaining their decision. After rejection, authors have the option of submitting the paper to another journal. Editor's suggestions should be addressed before submitting it to another journal. This is very good. And this is the overview of the review process. Paper is submitted, then the confirmation of receipt of the paper is sent. The initial decision by the editor is done, like paper is rejected or paper is under review. After it goes under review, then it is assigned to some reviewers. The reviewers accept the invite, reviews is completed, and then reviewers decide whether it should be revised, it should be accepted, or it should be rejected. And the authors get notification about revision or acceptance. If it is for revision, then revision has to be received and checked. And if it is accepted, then paper is sent to the publication and author has to wait for the published work to be seen online on the journal. So what editors do? Does the work fit the journal's scope? So they can review your articles based on the scope of the journal, the clarity of the language used in the research paper, the science sound, how your research work is fitted with the journal, targeted to the journal's audience or not, it is new or interesting research done or not, it is a big enough advance for this field or this journal so that it can be sent for publication. So what do peer reviewers look for? Quality, soundness of the research, suitability of the methods and analysis, soundness of analysis and appropriateness of the conclusion, reporting clarity of the message, language and presentation, how you have presented your research work in research paper, contribution to the literature, how novel your ideas are, how important or interesting your research is, and they also comment on suitability to the journal's scope, research and publication ethics. So models of peer review. So there are different models of the peer review process, like closed peer review, single blind. The reviewers know who the authors are, but the authors don't know who the reviewers are. Double blind. The reviewers don't know who the authors are, and the authors don't know who the reviewers are. And then there is open peer review. The reviewers know who the authors are, and the authors know who the reviewers are. Reviews published online if the manuscript is accepted. So after peer review, editors make a decision. Peer reviewers often disagree with each other. Editors may seek further advice of the other reviewers. Editors may overrule reviewers' comment or suggestions, and editors, not reviewers, ultimately decide what is to be published. So you can see from different journals pre-publication history, how you can search what type of journals has been published in the article, what is the scope, aim and objective of the journal, see the published articles, how they have published, how different type of journals they have published. Articles and reviewers report can be found while you log into your author account in the journal, and then you will be able to see what is the reviewers report and what is to be published. So they will give you timeline of the pre-publication version of the articles and reviewers comment in the report. So publishing tips. Editors and reviewers are looking for original and innovative research that will add to the field of study. For research-based papers, ensure that you have enough number to justify how sound the statistically you have researched and how well you have concluded and how novel ideas you have presented in your research paper. For a larger study, it may be better to produce one important research paper rather than a number of average incremental papers. So the bottom line, you will get published if you picked an important research question, you have used right methods and tools to answer the question, you have written short, clear account of the study, that you have followed a tight structure and used effective writing to convey your message clearly.